Hi guys, I just want to share a letter that I wrote to Obama a few months ago about gay equality, so I hope you guys like it. Dear President Obama, I am writing this letter in the hopes that you will hear my message one day. You may ask what my message is, but I believe you already know it. It is the same exact message you built your presidential campaign around. Change. During the election, I believed in you. Well, to be honest, I don't know if it was you or the message that you carried on your shoulders. But either way, you won my support and even made me into an even greater political activist, if that was possible. Unfortunately, you failed to act on an issue that is closest to my heart and the heart of my family. I am a 19-year-old high school graduate and future college student that has made a fine name for himself. I am in the top 5% of my class and have a passion that most of my teachers tell me they rarely see in a student. Every person I meet becomes close with me in a matter of minutes, yet they typically don't know one thing about me. I'm gay. Recently I shared my story with two of my classes in school and have realized that the world has changed. Even though some of those people have told me how against homosexuals they are, once they found out about my sexuality, they didn't need any more propaganda. They had years of knowing me, a gay person and a friend, and quickly realized that all those years of being homophobic, they were being anti-Mike. While telling my class of my sexual orientation, I decided to share the story of my friend's son, Ryan Skipper. At the age of 25, Ryan was stabbed over 20 times by two homophobic men. Once his body was discovered and the murderers were taken into custody, the local sheriff, Sheriff Grady, listened to the story of Ryan's murders, who said that Ryan was out looking for sex and that they were going to print off fraudulent checks from Ryan's laptop. This statement was later proven false once the court learned that Ryan didn't even have a computer to print the checks off of. Sheriff Grady never apologized for his statements that tarnished Ryan's name. I hear too often stories similar to these, and stories of my gay friends being kicked out of their homes by parents who they thought would still love them. I shared these stories with my class, as well as the story of my boyfriend, Pablo. Pablo's father kicked him out of the house and withdrew him from college on finding out about me, and it's taken us over 5 months to reunite. After sharing my story, my classmates began to thank me, tell me how much respect they have for me, and cry with me. After I was done speaking, a very close teacher stood up and repeated a quote that a classmate had once said to me, not knowing that I was gay. He said, "I think all faggots should be castrated and put on their own island. If they don't die from AIDS, then we should nuke them." She compared the students' words to those of Hitler, and the class realized even more how our government, and all of us, tend to take a blind eye to this sort of hatred. You recently gave a speech in Cairo, and stated, "I am convinced that in order to move forward, we must say openly the things we hold in our hearts, and that are too often said only behind closed doors. There must be a sustained effort to listen to each other, to learn from each other, to respect one another, and to seek common ground." Although you were speaking of all religions coming together, I believe the same concept can be applied to most divisions that we encounter in life. All we need is for all of us, including you, to do what we say we will do. That is all I ask of you. At least once a week, my mom would call me on her way home from work crying because she thought I was too brave. She thought that because of my building activism and the society that I'm growing up in, that her only son would be murdered because he is gay. I shared the story with my class as well. I met my goal of educating my friends that day, and exceeded that goal when I received an email from my teacher informing that one student was so touched by my braveness that she wanted me to email her with ways to help. During the class, I was called a hero by several people, but I quickly pointed out the true hero. Her name is Kathy, and after my speech she told me, in front of everyone, that she admires me for doing this, yet she didn't realize her own courage when she declared that she is bisexual in front of the entire class. I live in a society where I can't walk down some streets with my biracial boyfriend because of racism, but when I go to an area that isn't racist, I still can't hold his hand because of our gender and sexuality. This must stop. During the slide, I played a song by John Legend titled "If You're Out There." I first heard this song being played at one of your town meetings and began to cry because of all the images of equality for blacks, gays, and women that were popping up in my head. I think the song had an even greater effect on my class that day, along with the images of LGBT people who have lost their lives for a fight that all of us must join in together. Since the speech, I have emailed a student who asked to get more involved. I suggested that she start a gay-straight alliance in our school, so this has become one of my many projects to take part in. You may wonder why I gave these speeches. Well, one night when I was on a date with my boyfriend to go see Milk, I stood up in front of an audience of about 60 people at the end of the movie to share the story of gays and the Holocaust. Once I was done giving my speech, I was confronted by several strangers with hugs, handshakes, and kind words of courageousness. What motivated me during the movie was a quote of Harvey Milk's. He stated that if every single gay person came out of the closet, that their world would be such a better place and more welcoming of gay equality, because they would realize that their brothers, their sisters, their friends, and other family members were LGBT. That is why I am not silent anymore. That is why I am proud to be a gay teenager. I am writing to you in happiness, but also in solace. Today marked the day that the 6th state in the United States, Nevada, passed same-sex civil unions. Yet on that same day, Lieutenant Colonel Victor Fehrenbach was discharged because of the discriminatory don't ask, don't tell policy that bans homosexuals in the military. Lieutenant Colonel Fehrenbach is a highly decorated fighter pilot who has served his country well after 9/11. He was even hand-chosen to defend Washington against an imminent threat. So why now? Why, after he is revealed as the true Lieutenant Victor Fehrenbach, is he all of a sudden not good enough to protect you? I have to admit that my anger with your administration on the subject is growing daily once I saw your stagnant promises of LGBT equality. It blows my mind that after making all of these promises to us, that you openly stated that you didn't believe that don't ask, don't tell should be reviewed by the Supreme Court. Can you please explain your motives in this statement to me? I especially don't understand your position on don't ask, don't tell, when considering that over 100 current and retired admirals and generals wrote to you in opposition of this rule. I live in a very conservative city, Cincinnati. During your election, there was a great deal of people making anti-Obama narratives, and I defended you against everyone, because I thought I had seen the dream of change that you spoke of. Now I'm left wondering if it was just a different dream that you and I shared, or if you have strayed from the dream of change that was so eloquently spoken of. Now I am writing to you to ask you to hold the LGBT population's hand through this, and tell us that you see us as your equal, but don't just tell us. Walk with us through the harassment and violence, and let Americans see that you believe in change, and that you believe in the final wave of equality that will act as a wall to stop any act of discrimination from ever happening again in this nation. At the same speech in Cairo, you stated, "We are founded upon the ideal that all men are created equal, and we have shed blood and struggled for centuries to give meaning to those words, within our borders and around the world. We are shaped by every culture, drawn from every end of the earth, and dedicated to a simple concept, e pluribus unum, out of many, one." Again, I just can't grasp how you can say these words but not recognize the fight that LGBT people go through in this nation. America has strayed from her foundations, and people elected you because we believe that you truly were dedicated to reinstating those foundations. I don't know why you weren't acting on this promise of equality, because I know you see exactly what I see. In the speech I mentioned above, you said, "Words alone cannot meet the needs of our people. These needs will be met only if we act boldly in the years ahead, and if we understand that the challenges we face are shared, and our feelings to meet them will hurt us all. Our failings to meet them will hurt us all. To me, this is proof that you want to unite this world. Well, the only way to do that is to act. If you act, you will have an unprecedented support that no person has ever seen in this world. Not only will you have wide support of Americans, but we can be that beacon upon the hill again and usher in a new world, a world of true change, peace, and equality. Without this action, as you said in Cairo, given our interdependence, any world order that elevates one nation or group of people over another will inevitably